you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today's video is going to be a tutorial on the look that you see me wear right now. It's very rock show appropriate, I feel. I don't know what got into me, but I really just wanted to go all out with the black today. And a few days before shooting this, I did post a photograph on Instagram. I'll put it up right here. I posted a photograph on Instagram where I experimented. So yeah, those are the two looks that I had in mind, the one that I'm wearing right now and the one that's in the photograph, and I kind of just fell for this one. And also I used a lot of products in that photograph that I didn't really love, so I don't want to promote them on my channel here. But today's look is something that I love in every way possible, except for the fact that I just don't know how to wear it in real life. So with that in mind, let's quickly learn how to do this.
Starting out with some eye primer, I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and I'm just using that as my primer today. I'm blending it with my fingers, which by the way, you guys are completely welcome to ignore the shoddy shape of my nail polish. I'm ignoring it, but I ran out of nail polish remover. So I'm applying it everywhere from brow bone to lash line. And then I'm going to set it really quickly. This is the Makeup Revolution's New-Trals versus New-Trals palette. It's an amazing palette, one of my absolute favorites. And I'm taking this matte bone shade on a flat shader brush. This brush I got from Claire's actually, and it's really good quality, very surprisingly, considering it's, you know, a kid's store. And I'm using this shade right here to set everything everywhere that I applied concealer. I'm just setting it. I'm very generous with the amount of this bone colored shadow that I'm using, because I want to create a smooth base for my later shadows to blend. Then I'm going into this really light orange coral shade, and I'm applying it to the crease and blending it upwards. This is going to be my transition shade for this look. Now with this kind of look, you want to be careful the way you build your shadows. You can always add more pigment, but you can't take it away. So just apply a little bit and build and blend and build and blend. That's exactly what you want to do. This is my transition shade. This is going to make sure that everything looks like it's a neat gradient. Next, I'm going into this mid-tone orange shade from the same palette and applying this to my crease. Now this is my crease color. This is just a little bit darker than my transition color, just so that the gradient is neat, and I'm blending. Again, I don't want any of the edges to be harsh here. Then going into this taupe gray shade, I'm going to apply it everywhere on the center of my lid, on the lower center of my lid. And this is just going to demarcate the area where later on the black will go. Why am I using gray first? Just because gray is a shade lighter than black, and you want the gradient to be neat. So that is why light color first, and just building the gradient in that manner. I know I'm being very repetitive, but a whole lot of a smoky eye makeup look has just to do with gradients and building and blending. That's all it's about. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm blending it into the crease. It's deepening the color of my crease, making it a little bit darker, but that's what we want. We want a gradual gradient. I decided that I wanted to blend my transition a little bit more right here, so that's what I'm doing. But make sure you keep the underside of your brow bone is empty. This is the Sleek original palette, Sleek Cosmetics, and they make one of the best matte black eyeshadows that I own. I know it doesn't look like much right now because it just looks like a gray the way I'm applying it right now, but know that I'm using very little pigment and building slowly. So again, I chose to do that because gray is a shade lighter than black, but this gray is a little bit darker than the last one. So we're creating that gradient, and we want to be careful about it. Again, this is demarcating the area where the black will eventually go, but I'm just building and blending as we go along. Make sure you keep blending, but not all colors must gel into one. So when you're blending this one out, make sure it doesn't touch the transition and it doesn't touch the crease too much, but it is blended in the direction of the crease. I know this is a little bit of an advanced tutorial, but all you need is patience. That's the only advanced thing about this. The brush I'm using here is also by Color Bar. It's their blending brush, and it's one of the best. Alright, don't be afraid to go back into all your blending colors, your oranges, your transitions, and just keep the pigment the way you like it. This is the L'Oreal gel liner. You can use any gel liner that you like. If you don't want to have a gel liner, you can go ahead and use the same black shadow. Just wet your brush with some Fix Plus or water or any wet substance, and this will increase the pigmentation. I'm applying this to a very small part of the eye, just because once this gel liner sets, it's not going to be very blendable. So I'm applying it where I want the black color to be absolutely concentrated and opaque, but I'm leaving a little bit towards the crease, in the direction of the crease, empty, going back into the black shade. I'm setting it. Now it's not going to be blendable anymore, but it's going to increase the opacity of the black pigment, and I'm going to take it above the area where I applied the gel liner. I hope what I'm saying is making sense to you guys, but that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm overlapping a little bit so that the portion that is not covering the gel liner, that is still movable, we can blend it. It's going to be darker than the pigments that were placed underneath it, but it's going to give you that dark to light gradient smoky effect. Again, at this point, it's going to be the longest you spend on blending. Don't worry about blending outside the corner of your eye and not being very clear about the shape that your eye shadow is taking, whether it is pointy, slanty, round, whatever. Let it be the way it is. Just blend. You can always clean up later. In fact, no matter what you do, you will have to clean up later, so don't worry about it. Just keep blending till you get the general effect that you want. I went back and redid the transition, and as you can see, blending just gets rid of a lot of pigment, so you might have to keep going back and doing that. So keep the brushes that you use for transition separate from the ones that you use for your black pigment. Now that all of that is done, I'm just quickly going to clean up with a baby wipe. And I decided not to do my face makeup on camera just because it took a lot of video time. And it's not anything special, it's just the usual foundation, concealer, powder, bronzer, you know the drill. So that's really easy. This is the BECCA Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal. I have a tiny one, and I'm using this on a clean pencil brush, and I'm applying it to my brow bone area. Then I'm using the NYKAA I Am Black Kajal. You know I don't love this, but for this particular video it was absolutely perfect, just because it's super blendy, super smudgy. So that's what I'm doing. I used it to tightline my upper lash line and my lower waterline, and then I blended it a little bit. Then I went into the grey shadow that I used initially for my main lid space, and I'm just setting everything and blending this kajal a little bit lower, just to give it that smoky gradient on my lower lash as well. Then I'm going into the darker transition color, the darker crease color, the darker deeper orange, and just blending away at the edges once again to mirror the same effect that it has on my upper eyelid right here. Again, you might have to clean up once more, but this time it shouldn't be too bad. And then I'm going into the same light orange transition shade, light coral, and making sure that everything just kind of is seamless and gradient. Then I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Single Shadow. It's a pigment thing. It's in Eternal Sunshine on a wet angle liner brush. This is again from Color Bar. Color Bar makes some of the best brushes that I own. And I'm just applying this to the inner V of my eye, making sure it's more concentrated towards the lash base. The mascara I'm using today is the Smashbox Full Exposure Mascara. You guys can go ahead and use some false lashes if you want. I don't own any false lashes. I don't have any experience with them yet, so that's why I chose not to use them. This is the Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick in the shade Pink in the Afternoon. Go ahead and use any nudie pink that you want, but this is the one that was closest to what I wanted. And here is the finished look.
And that, you guys, is the finished look. I really enjoyed shooting this, and a complete list of products that I've used are listed in the description box down there. If you liked what you saw, then go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and go ahead and leave a comment. I think whatever your thoughts are on this video and any of my other videos, I guess just leave a comment, give me suggestions on future videos, what you would like to see, and what else. Yeah, follow me on all of my social media. They're listed right there on the bottom of the screen. They're listed right there. Go ahead and follow me everywhere. And yeah, I think that's all for today. I wish you guys have a great day. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.